Hello, this is Giselle Gamby from the Intuitive Pull podcast. We are now in season 5 as we are on the home run for 2024. The next episodes will be daily episodes until the 31st of December 2024, all dedicated to you coming to full and complete resolution around the places within you and the places in your life that are unresolved. Welcome to podcast 2 of what I've entitled the Resolution Revolution, where I am, well, actually, it's the fire within my leadership, actually, that's here podcasting every day until the end of this year to support you to bring about what has been unresolved to complete resolution and freedom. So today's episode, I want to talk about a conversation I had with myself this past Monday when I was walking the dog. And so if you listen, you need to listen to the previous episode to understand the context of why I'm even turning up here every single day, talking to you about what is unresolved in your life so that you can bring it into complete resolution and freedom. So I was walking the dog on Monday night and I was reflecting on how good I feel. How good I feel having brought what was unresolved, what was sitting there not in complete integrity, having done the work that I've needed to do within myself and also externally as well, also in terms of, some practical things that has allowed me to come to complete resolution and freedom. And if I go back to the first episode, it's because the first step was that I worked with the power of humility. I went to a place of humility, and that is the reason why the first reason, the first most vital reason that I have brought what had been sitting there unresolved, sitting there, creating its own reality of rinse and repeat scenarios that had me feel dissatisfied, that had me feel sometimes shame, that had me feel inadequate, that had me feel less than what I could be. So humility was the first step, which was about episode 1. So when I was walking on Monday night, I was reflecting on how good I was feeling. And I said to myself, why would I ever want to disconnect from the feeling that I've been feeling? That I must also say just one more time that all of this unfolded, and the reason why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling and I'm having the external results that I'm having is because I raised the stakes in June this year. That's why. Back to that walk, I keep on looping. So now I'm going to go back to that walk, having asked myself the question, why would I ever want to disconnect from the feeling that I've been feeling, which feels so good? And why did I disconnect? Why did I disconnect from this level of presence that I have, which I believe is a superpower? Why did I disconnect from this level of intuition that I'm experiencing an outpouring of? Why did I ever disconnect from that when I was in that unresolved state of being, when I had unresolved places within myself that would then have me at times disconnect from or temper my level of presence and intuition? So I asked myself, why did I ever do that? And the answer was really simple, and this is the reason or the purpose of this episode. It was really simple. The reason why I remained unresolved, the reason why in that remaining unresolved, again, you need to go back to podcast 1, previous to this one. The reason why I chose to go into defense and move things around and move the furniture around instead of really going in and doing the work is because I was attached to the version of myself that I have known. And it's really that simple. The reason why we do not go and do the work that's required to come into complete resolution and freedom, and therefore we move the chess pieces around, the furniture around, we make a few decisions this way, that way, we defend, we resolve, we cajole, we use a lot of words, we go and do trauma work. Nothing wrong with trauma work, except for when it's used in this regard, which is the antithesis, right? You think that when you're doing trauma work, you're going into the core, but sometimes we can use trauma work to keep us in the loop of our unresolved cycles within ourselves, is because we are attached to the person or to the version of ourselves that we've known ourselves to be. Like when I think of myself, like I live a pretty good life. Yeah, sometimes there's some fuck ups, which is completely related to the places within me that are unresolved. But I live a pretty good life, pretty happy, doing pretty well. That's a predictable version of me. I was attached to that version. Consider that for yourself. The only reason why we do not make the necessary fundamental changes that we need to make is because we are attached to the version of ourselves that we've known, because it's predictable. Now, I just want to go to my notes because I had this amazing conversation with somebody this morning. It was one of those extra conversations that I didn't expect to have. And I was sharing with him detail about what had been going on for me since I raised the stakes in June 2024. And I said this out loud and he said, oh my God, can you say that again? Can you say that again so I can write it down? It was really good. And so I said it again as I was writing it out. And this is what I wrote out. So when we are working, right, at the level that I am inviting you into, to really face into what has been unresolved, we are changing our identity at a fundamental level. It's not just a little bit of a change here and a little bit of a change there. We are changing our identity. It's actually it's change at the level of identity, but at a very fundamental way, or in a very fundamental way. So we are changing our identity at a fundamental level and are now becoming someone we couldn't allow ourselves to be. We couldn't allow ourselves to be whilst we were resolving what was unresolved in ways that didn't actually bring about the true resolution that we were seeking. So we are changing our identity at a fundamental level and are now becoming someone who we couldn't allow ourselves to be whilst we were resolving what was unresolved in ways that didn't actually bring about the resolution that we were seeking. Now, when we are doing those things that we think are bringing about the resolution that we are seeking, yet we don't get the result, actually, I'm going to record the next episode to that point. Cliffhanger. What are we actually resolving when we're not resolving what is necessary to be resolved in order to come to complete resolution? See you in a moment.